These miniature bronze sculptures were purchased by our guest from an antique store. They were a present for his wife.
I found them at a thrift store, and I was actually looking for a present for my wife. And I came across these, and I said, whoa, these will make a nice present for her.
These pieces were sculpted by Bessie Potter Vonnoh. Bessie was one of America's leading sculptors of the 20th century, known for her small bronze sculptures, mostly of domestic scenes. Her best-known large-scale work, the Burnett Memorial Fountain, was completed in Central Park, New York, in 1937. These sculptures depict motherhood and childhood, typical of the artist's style and expression. The sculptor of the mother and child is a rare type, and in the market would go for about...
So an auction estimate on this would be between $4,000 and $6,000.
Okay.
Original bronze sculptures by renowned sculptors are rare, as there are many fakes on the market now. This brings the value of these pieces to...
At auction, we'd probably put an estimate of between $5,000 and $7,000.
Wow.
The guest inherited a painting from their grandmother, which they had admired for years. It was signed by John F. Carlson, a Swedish-born artist associated with the Woodstock art colony. The appraiser explained Carlson's background and association with the Woodstock area, known for its snow scenes.
Carlson was an artist who came from Sweden. He was born in Sweden, but came to the United States when he was about 9 years old, and painted primarily around the Woodstock area.
They also discussed other Woodstock artists such as Ockman and Burge Harrison, who also painted popular snow themes. The painting likely dated from 1925 to 1935 and was in pretty great condition. The exceptional artwork was on its original canvas and had not been lined. Despite being yellowed, it could be cleaned to revive its original colors, especially the snow, which would regain its whiteness. The guest was taken aback by the suggested value for the beautiful painting.
I would say for insurance value about $60,000.
Oh my gosh.
Placed on a table is this majestic-looking clock. It's a French Palissy ware mantel clock, and it is a remarkable example of Palissy ware, a style popularized by the French artist Bernard Palissy. Palissy was a French Huguenot potter, scientist, and craftsman, known for his contributions to the ceramic industry. The intricate detailing of flora, fauna, and other creatures on the ceramic body of the clock is truly exquisite and showcases Palissy's mastery of rustic motifs. French-made, this clock was sold in America.
The clock was retailed in America.
At the back of the ceramic of the clock is a bold insignia. Considering the craftsmanship and the good condition of the clock, it would be worth...
It would bring $4,000 to $6,000.
I guess I'll have to learn to like that guy.
I think that he obviously likes you.
It's often thought that dolls are made for children, but the doll presented today isn't one of such. It's an automaton doll. This automaton doll is a French clockwork or music box and was made by a Frenchman named Leopold Lambert. The doll has 5 movements when played, which adds to its value.
The more movements an automaton has, the more value they have.
Featuring all of its original pieces, the doll is quite special.
There's no redressing, no repainting, there's no cracking to the paper mache.
As it also has the initials of the maker and a key used to start the music box at the back. This piece, still with all of its original features and with the fact that the music still plays, will sell for...
I would place them in the range between $12,000 to $15,000. Wow.
Inheriting these mesmerizing lamp bases from her husband's great aunt led this guest to inquire about details surrounding them. These lamp bases or candlesticks were made in Austria, and on the underside is a hole. The hole serves as a means to electrify the lamp in case it wasn't used as a candlestick.
So this was originally produced as a potential lamp. So you could have used this as a candlestick, or you could have used it, electrified it, and had it as a lamp.
Made between 1906 and 1915, the lamp style incorporates Viennese secessionist elements. The designs of the candlestick can be noticed all around with colorations typical of the period it was made.
The pottery table, and the coloration is very kind of typical of that area, Central Europe.
Candlesticks of this type are usually black and white, and for a unique piece like this, it would be valued at...
would be $8,000 to $10,000.
You're kidding me!
No, these are
Among the many old laws, the Laws of Montana Territory book stands out. This piece shows how laws were made in the early days of Montana. It was acquired by the guest through the estate of his wife's uncle. Quite interesting, this historical legal document outlines the laws enacted by the territorial government of Montana.
This early territorial law book, it was published and printed in Virginia City in Montana Territory in 1866.
It covers a wide range of topics relevant to the government of the territory at that time. Also, the book provides valuable insight into the legal framework and societal norms of Montana Territory in the mid-19th century.
It still has its rear wrapper, but it's missing its front wrapper. But other than that, it is original and intact.
Despite its condition, this monumental work in early Montana territorial printing is an uncommon piece that's worth.
At retail, this item would fetch $10,000 plus.
Wow.
The memories of adventure on the high seas comes alive with this captivating clipper ship diorama. This clipper ship has a rich history to it.
And somewhere along the journey, it was lost at sea, and they sent out a fleet of recovery ships.
Also, this piece is a document of the history of the merchant marine in Baltimore, which is a phase of history that is past. Baltimore had the fastest clipper ships that were afloat, and this piece is a beautiful object made from the remains of this boat.
The best of American folk art, because there's so many things that are pulling together here.
However, it fits into the tradition of shadow box dioramas that were popular in the 19th century. Considering the strong family and social history connected to this piece, it's highly valued at.
This piece would be valued somewhere in the range of $10,000 to $15,000.
That's great.
It's great, and I'm so glad to have seen it.
Among the treasures attributed to the acclaimed artist Thomas Sully, one might anticipate a masterpiece painting, yet least expected is his very own painting table.
Designed this piece of furniture, he designed this so that he could paint and put his brushes in the top, and he had it made, and this is what he used, and I have multiple pictures of Thomas Sully.
This table features a nicely curved eagle head and paw feet. Fascinatingly, it has got a little side drawer, and it is not a standard form table.
Now, our sense of this is it should be covered in paint.
Right.
And that it should be messy, and it should look like a Jackson Pollock drip painting.
Alongside the table is a picture of Sally in the studio, with the table showcasing a formal setup. However, this rare artifact embodies the creative essence of a master artist, and it is worth.
And I know we have a limited market, but if I was to see this come up for sale, I would easily expect it to be at the kind of $5,000 to $7,000 range. Glad you brought a part of it with you today.
Well, this is really fun. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
People think inheritances should always be something enormous, but that's not the case with these pieces given to our guest as an inheritance. These three pieces are illustrations. The pair on the left is illustrations of stories from ancient Persia.
Nizami died in like 1209. And these stories were like stories from Sasanian Persia of about 500 years before.
And is done on paper with a mineral pigment and gold. The illustration on the right is of a completely different origin, made in northern India, and on its back is really incredible calligraphy.
Two different styles with the blue borders and the gilt, and this blue was all powdered lapis lazuli.
These pieces, each of different origin and style, but with their own unique make, would go for.
This pair would probably sell for between $25,000 and $30,000. And this one here would probably sell for about $15,000 to $20,000 alone.
Wow.
This pottery bowl by William J. Walley is a striking example of his unique and unconventional approach to animate depictions and designs, which showcases a rare artistic vision.
Figural lizard of some sort. On the bottom of it is a mark which does stand for William J. Walley.
This wonderful mottled green and yellow glaze was made about 1910.
He was kind of a great eccentric. Every piece of pottery was unique. He made every piece. He threw it, he glazed it, he molded it. It was a one-of-a-kind piece.
What's so unique about this piece is the figural lizard on the side. And because this pottery is rare and esoteric, it doesn't come up often. Considering its eccentric animated designs, this bowl stands out as a truly captivating work of art that's worth.
We believe that at auction this would bring between $4,000 and $6,000.
Amazing.
Fans play a significant role in promoting music, art, and our guest on the show is no exception. He acquired a preliminary art piece of the album License to Ill by the Beastie Boys in 1986. The Beastie Boys were an American hip-hop rap rock group formed in 1981. The group consists of Adam Horowitz, Adam Yauch, and Michael Diamond. This art exhibits a few variations from the final album art.
The logo on the tail here has been changed to Beastie Boys, spelling it out. It's their big seminal album. I guess he wanted to spell out who it is. We don't need to hide their name anywhere.
Rare album covers hold value, but preliminary art directly from the artist carries its own significance. And this piece is estimated to be worth.
One that was used on the cover, it could be as much as $10,000 to $15,000.
About 30 years ago, our guest stumbled upon this artwork in his new home. He acquired the piece when his parents sold the house to him.
I got it when they moved out of Chicago and they were moving to a smaller house, and some of the items in the house I acquired. That was about more than 30 years ago.
This artwork is an oil painting on canvas created by Joseph Henry Sharp. Joseph was an American painter and founding member of the Taos Society of Artists, where he was considered the spiritual father. He gained recognition for his paintings of Native American portraits and culture. This particular painting illustrates a conversation between two Native Americans.
Turns out that Sharp actually lived across the street from Kit Carson's home site. Carlson moved there in 1843.
In excellent condition, this original painting, bearing the signature of one of the founders of the Taos Society of Artists, is estimated to be worth.
I would expect it to sell in the range of $400,000.
$400,000.
Yes.
It's a lot.
Yes.
There's something nostalgic about old letters, just like the two displayed today by this guest. She inherited them from her great-uncle, who was a close friend of John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy was an American politician who served as the 35th President of the United States from 1961 until his assassination in 1963. It is very uncommon to possess a letter personally signed by Kennedy.
Most of the Bobby things are almost always auto pen or secretarial signature.
The content of one of these letters is about an equal employment opportunity conference with Kennedy's signature visible. At auction, this piece of American history is estimated to be worth.
It's going to be about $300 to $500.
While the second signed letter referenced John Kennedy, it would fetch an auction value of.
It's going to be about $750 to $1,000.
Another item featured is a silver cigarette box, which was a wedding gift to the guest's uncle from President Kennedy. This silver piece, with its provenance, would sell at auction for.
This is about an $80 to $100 box.
Altogether, this interesting memorabilia of American history would accrue an auction value of.
It's going to be worth at auction about $10,000 to $15,000. Seriously.
He acquired them through assisting a family friend with their relocation. The Nippon Porcelain Coraline collection, circa 1910, is a prized Japanese decorative porcelain line from the late Meihei era. At the bottom, there's a note stating, "Patent applied for," followed by a number indicating the pending patent application. Patent applied for implies it was made for export to the U.S. and likely patented there. Nippon denotes Japan in the late 19th to early 20th century prior to using Japan on exports. Coraline is a technique involving glass beads on porcelain, creating a coral-like texture. One piece features water lilies, while another possibly showcases a poppy-like design. Clear glass beads were applied, melted, and fused with the body, magnifying the colors for an intriguing decorative effect. The Nippon Porcelain Coraline collection features both expert coraline technique and intricate hand-painted designs. These pieces embody the eclectic style of the Meihei period, blending Japanese aesthetics with Western influences. Collectors marveled at the Nippon Porcelain Coraline collection, with the appraiser valuing the item.
So the value for the group of three would be between $1,500 and $3,000.
Wow.
This woman brought a plaque to the show. The plaque was given to her as an inheritance. It's verified that this piece is of German craftsmanship. The plaque has a depiction of a mythological creature and was made with a form of enamel.
It's a form of enamel that's traditionally called Limoges enamel.
This form of enamel is made using finely ground glass and a copper plate.
Which is scored with an area where you get to see a figure, and then they put it in and they fire it up very, very hot. And it turns into this very glassy, beautiful, translucent surface.
Also seen on the plaque is a signature detailing where it was made. A plaque of this size, with the quality of its craftsmanship, is worth.
This size and of this quality is probably worth $7,000 or $8,000.
Wow. A quite fascinating diploma is featured on the show today. Our guest acquired the diploma at a flea market. What is of the most importance about this diploma is the signature of a past president of the United States of America, Dwight D. Eisenhower. Eisenhower, also known as Ike, was the 34th President of the United States and a 5-star general in the United States Army during World War II.
Commander of Allied forces in World War II and being President of the United States.
This signature was from when Eisenhower was President of Columbia University.
He went from Columbia to NATO to running for president.
And typical of Eisenhower's signature, we see a distinctive loop in the D of his first name. The rarity of Eisenhower's signature on this diploma, which has never been seen before, would make it auction at.
My estimate at auction would be much higher. It would be $700 to $900.
Oh my goodness.
So not bad for $3.
Not bad at
Well
all.
done.
This advertising sign was the peak of traditional ads during the 20th century. Created around 1920, the idea behind this sign was innovative because, unlike traditional ads, this advertising sign was used to market 3 different products simultaneously.
Wrigley's Juicy Fruit Gum at the same time, as well as the Kimball store.
This type of sign is called a lenticular sign, and it is a kind of sign that uses a plastic lens to produce multiple images from one sheet. The goal with these signs was to draw customers in using the sign. As one of the traditional mediums of advertising, this vintage sign today would auction for
a good advertising auction. This would bring between $3,000 and $5,000.
Wow. That's fantastic.
You would think that blankets are only used for warmth and comfort. But this blanket presented by our guest is more than that. It's a Native American chief's blanket called a third phase chief's blanket.
Well, it's called a third phase chief's blanket. And the reason it's a third phase are these stepped triangles in the corners.
Woven circa 1870, this blanket features Native American weaving style. This blanket was probably made with cochineal, which is a red dye made from the bodies of cochineal insects.
Coche beetles, you know what a prickly pear cactus is?
Yes.
Well, in the Southwest, it looks like a growth on it that's sort of a fuzzy white look.
And a plant called rabbit brush. Although this blanket has been cut and resewn, its origin of being a Native American original would make it auction at
probably between $6,000 and $8,000.
A family from Massachusetts has kept this artifact for generations.
Your family since the mid-19th century.
That's right.
And the family was from where?
From Dalton, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, okay.
Our guest presented us with a silver can from her great-great-grandmother. Of American origin, this piece was crafted by William Garrett Forbes. Forbes was a renowned American silversmith popular for his unique works in the city of New York. This can was crafted in cartouche form. It has a beautiful scroll handle with bright cut decoration. Inscribed on the base of the piece is the hallmark of its maker.
But there's something else that makes this a very, very unusual piece of American silver from the early 19th century. If we turn it over, on the bottom we have some hallmarks. But there's another set of hallmarks on this can right below the first set. And that's a gentleman by the name of William Forbes.
Unique and rare in markets today, this piece, dating back to the 19th century, has an estimated value of
An auction value on this can would be approximately $1,000 to $1,500.
Very nice.
When we hear Civil War, most people immediately think of the American Civil War, but only a select few people know that there was also the Mexican Civil War. This war took place between 1910 and 1920.
The volunteer group, and he was in the 134th Pennsylvania Volunteers.
We have here a Mexican War and Mexican Civil War uniforms, respectively. On the Mexican War uniform, there's a rank tag indicating a high-ranking infantry colonel.
Because it's the tall gentleman-style coat worn by the higher-ranking officer.
The same applies to the Mexican war coat, but the details on the coat are not as apparent. However, as clothing is known to degrade over time, these prized uniforms auction at.
This coat would retail somewhere between $7,000 and $10,000. Wow.
This porcelain figure, a Madonna and a child, is elegantly portrayed in pure white. The guest inherited this treasure from their uncle, and its legacy is now woven into their life for nearly 3 years. It's an exceptional quality piece resembling the Chinese blanc de Chine style.
Symbols on the back of it.
First of all, let's look at the quality of it. For something that's white porcelain, all over white porcelain, not...
However, it's made in Germany, specifically by Meissen. The figure's intricate modeling, despite being uncolored, is highly detailed.
Fabulous quality. And that's really what tells quality when you don't have something that...
The crossed sword marks confirm that it is Meissen, with a glazed mark indicating that it was made after 1900. Despite its age, the figure is in excellent condition, with the scepter as a separate piece, aiding its survival.
The scepter was actually made as a separate object so that it allowed it to survive the process. I could see that being the first part of it.
An estimate of auctioned and retail value is...
Tell you the auction value, which if it came up at auction, would have a pre-sale estimate in the range of $3,000 to $5,000.
Okay.
Retail establishment easily at $6,500.
Our guests' grandparents were missionaries in Korea from 1890 to 1908, and the item, a Korean matchlock gun, was purchased by his grandfather from a Korean tiger hunter. The gun is a rare find, as matchlock guns are uncommon, and the appraiser has only...
I've only seen guns like this in books.
Really?
I've never actually seen one in person.
Interesting.
Matchlock guns like this one were used before the fall of the Korean dynasty around 1911, during the Japanese occupation. The gun features a hardwood stock, a handmade barrel, and a mechanism that used a cord soaked in saltpeter to ignite this gunpowder. This type of gun was practical and effective, likely explaining why the design persisted. The gun is estimated to be from the 19th or even 18th century. At auction, this Korean gun could fetch between...
Say conservatively at auction, the estimate would be like $3,000 to $5,000 on this gun.
Is that right?
Presented on the show is a Whiting sterling silver trophy. This piece represents a tradition of excellence and achievement. Crafted by the renowned Whiting Manufacturing Company, this trophy embodies the elegance and prestige associated with sterling silver craftsmanship.
Yes. I know that it was a trophy from the Westminster Kennel Club from 1883, and that's really all I know about it.
Also, the trophy's design is characterized by intricate details.
Here, the mark for Whiting, which is a company, American company, started in 1840 and then purchased by Gorham in 1926.
Owning a piece such as this is not just possessing a trophy, it is holding a piece of history and a symbol of excellence that transcends time. However, this trophy represents the pinnacle of success and the celebration of hard work, and it is valued at...
I think in today's market, you easily could be $2,500 as a retail price.
Thank you. That's awesome.
A chair is not just for sitting, it's for making a statement. This guest brings a chair that has been in his family for over 100 years. It belonged to his grandfather, who purchased it in Europe in the 1800s. This chair was made in Venice around the second quarter of the 19th century, between 1825 and 1850. It is a beautifully designed man-made treasure. The figures on the front are known as caryatid figures.
Part of the building. Well, she's holding up the front of this chair and doing a pretty good job with her wings that are coming out and her hoof feet.
Yep.
And
Turning the chair reveals the lovely griffin face. It has some wear on it as it has been put against a wall and scratched. There are also some lovely scroll designs, a characteristic of its Italian origin.
The whole piece is carved wood. It's probably a lighter pine, which would be easy to carve, and then it is gessoed.
The base of the chair is made of wood. One major indication.
It's early 19th century because there's some pins, which is part of the construction that holds it together. And you can see it through the gilding here and then on the other section of the leg as well.
That this is an early 19th century piece is the construction model. It was made by pin construction. The whole piece is made of carved wood, probably a lighter pine, which is easy to carve. It was then gessoed before being gilded. Aside from some minor condition issues, the chair is in good condition.
Pin construction. Now the whole piece is carved wood. It's probably a lighter pine.
It has an early French mohair upholstery done probably in the 1860s in Paris. There are Napoleonic decorations to it, all wool. This is why it is still in good condition, as wool mohair doesn't wear easily. At auction, it is valued at about,
with the right decorator, he or she would be able to charge in the $10,000 range for a piece like this. I love this chair.
The guest received a vase-turned-lamp from her mother, which had been in their family for generations. Initially owned by their great-grandmother, it was later passed down to her mother. The piece was identified as Newcomb College pottery, specifically crafted by artist Leona Nicholson. The appraiser shared background about the artist's work and pointed out the mark on the pottery. It was a late glossy or carved glossy piece, showcasing exemplary craftsmanship with stylized trees and rare orange glazing. The particular piece underwent changes by being converted into a lamp, causing devaluation. Despite the alterations, the wonderful piece still held a surprisingly high value.
It's still worth, at auction, from $30,000 to $40,000.
Really?
In this condition.
The guest recounted finding a box belonging to her father's cousin who served in World War II. The collection comprised various artifacts including a bailout map, ID cards, a logbook, glider wings, artwork, cartoons, and additional memorabilia. The appraiser detailed the relative's involvement in Operation Market Garden.
Unfortunately for your relative, his glider was captured by SS Panzer men, and half the men were killed, and he was taken prisoner.
They discussed the emergency map among the items, marking the operation's location. There was also a card reassuring the family of safety in the prisoner of war camp, a logbook of camp activities, glider wing, bracelet, and artwork depicting barracks life. Taking into account the historical significance, the appraised value was determined.
A very popular area of collecting, I would say at a retail level, probably somewhere $4,000 to $5,000 range, especially with all the other things that we're not showing.
A late 19th century piece made its way to the show. This is a Chinese jade snuff bottle gifted to our guest by one of her patients as a token of appreciation. This item is a meticulous work of art, featuring lacquer painting and shell inlays, which add to its beauty, also indicating its origin from Japan in the 1880s. This high-quality jade piece, complemented by its intricate lacquer paintings at auction, would fetch.
It will bring 3,000 to 5,000.
Oh, wow!
Yes.
At first glance at this doll, and you would think it's the stuff of nightmares because it looks like a clown. Nevertheless, this doll is a prized jewel in the doll-making industry.
Now, of course, it's teddy bears that they're known for. We've got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But he's quite a rare piece, so he was only made between about 1911 and 1919.
Because it was made by a company called Steiff, which are known for producing vintage, rare dolls. It was made between 1911 and 1919, and at the time was the peak in the doll industry. Today, this rare vintage doll created by Steiff, with all its features, would fetch the auction price of,
Guess piece, and I would say £800 to £1,000.
Wow! I'll be darned.
Marvel at the elegance of this classic bracelet. This piece was acquired by a guest while she was working at an estate auction in Florida. Dating back to the 1940s, the item is adorned with yellow and green gold pyramid links. What's fascinating about this piece is that it was made during World War II.
really a wonderful example of what 40s jewelry was all about.
A period plagued by severe scarcity in natural resources. Additionally, the bracelet is designed in the form of a battle tank track, which was in vogue at the time of its creation. The diamonds blend seamlessly with the captivating rubies, set in resplendent gold. This bracelet embodies the essence of luxury and boasts a rich history. It would fetch an auction value of
Could probably go for about $6,000 today.
Oh, really?
Really?
That's amazing.
The alluring shine from this intricately engraved gold ring is so powerful
for devotion and carried on someone's little finger
that it helps support the ring's purpose of devotion. Created around the 16th or 17th century, this ring was crafted as a symbol of loyalty to Christ, and it was to be worn around the little finger as a sign of identification. It is evident that this was created through sheer expertise evident in the engravings. As it was rare at the time to see a crucifixion depicted on rings, that elevates the value of the gold ring and increases its auction estimate to
certainly £1,500 to £2,000.
It's often said that fashion is subjective.
It's a swan's claw, isn't it?
Yes.
And made into a purse.
That's right, yes.
Perhaps that's the case with this swan's foot purse, which might look hideous to many, but to fashion antique lovers, it is a masterpiece. Made from the swan's claw, this purse is rare because it's not a norm to make purses using swans. A distinct feature of this purse is the claw and the lizard-like skin. Since this type of purse doesn't seem to be the norm, and as it's not appealing to most, this rare and awkwardly appealing swan's claw purse is tipped to auction at.
So, you know, we had estimates ranging from 200 to 700, so £400 is probably about right.
Emerging from the rich tapestry of fashion history is this exquisite woman's dance blanket. This piece was made by Jane Dixon Lamfrombourget, a revered artist who happens to be our guest's great-great-grandmother. Upon closer inspection, every stitch narrates a story of artistry.
It is a blanket, it's a woman's blanket, and it's a woman's shawl or dance blanket.
From the intricate silk applique adorning the borders to the mesmerizing arrangement and patterns of the beads. The harmonious blend of colors and meticulous beadwork renders this piece truly stunning.
These blankets are generally made by the Osage tribe, which are related to the Sioux.
With its captivating center medallion, despite the little tears which doesn't affect its value, this work of art would be valued at,
I think conservatively, somewhere between $60,000 and $75,000 for this.
Well, I don't think they can have it.
Good for you.
This unique bracelet watch crafted by Cartier is a rare gem in their collection. Cartier, a French luxury goods conglomerate renowned for its opulent designs in jewelry and timepiece. Our guest inherited this watch from her grandmother alongside other jewelry. An 18-karat yellow gold watch made in 1950, boasting a unique jague le couture backward movement, which sets it apart from the ordinary.
So to actually wind and set the watch, it is on the reverse.
Although designed to masquerade as a bracelet,
Nothing. I found out it was a watch probably a year after I first laid eyes on it, and I don't know anything about it.
this piece features a discerning opening, revealing its true nature as a wristwatch. In an era where few were crafted, this piece garnered immense demand, adding to its allure and exclusivity.
Cartier from this type of era in the 1950s, they really made some of the best examples, in my opinion, of jewelry and watches that you tend to see today.
This exceptional bracelet watch, designed to mimic a stylish accessory, is tipped to auction at,
If it was to sell at auction, $15,000.
Wow.
I wouldn't be surprised at that type of number. It's stunning.
Oh,
it's probably
beautiful.
one of the nicest of its type I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you so much.
Perhaps the most surprising story you'll hear about past presidents is this story about President Gerald Ford.
I brought in a letter from former President Gerald R. Ford to my grandmother.
Where he used to be called a naughty child due to his troubles. President Ford was known as the only president who was never elected, and the letter here was addressed to his teacher when he was the minority leader of the United States Senate. One can immediately notice the letter was truly from Ford with the stamped signature, which was a norm at the time. These kinds of stamps were used by minority leaders as a show of their official office. As it is a great letter which was signed by a former president, in today's market, this would auction for
I would put an insurance value on it of $2,000. It's a great letter. It's a great family paper to have and to cherish.